As Russia and Ukraine continue their war of attrition, Ukraine bravely or pointlessly, depends on who you ask, striking oil refineries recently as part of their Independence Day while the war continues. No, it actually is their Independence Day. I don't know why I did that. The war continues, though. Another story, though, is unfolding just 30 kilometers from Ukraine's northern border. Belarus sits on Ukraine's northern border. It's what could be described as a satellite state of the Russian Federation. It's very closely aligned and well within the Russian Federation's sphere of influence. And though a separate nation with Minsk as their capital, they, for further up, for additional seniority, one could argue, look to Moscow to sit above Minsk. For better or worse, I'm just giving you the facts. Now, this Belarus, with about 9 million people as their population and 65,000 people as their standing army, appears to be mobilizing. Belarus has quietly mobilized and deployed one third of its entire military force along Ukraine's northern frontier in just the last few days, creating what could become Europe's next flashpoint. Alexander Lukashenko, Belarus's strongman leader, president, claims he's responding to Ukraine supposedly deploying 120,000 soldiers near the Belarus-Ukraine border. But here's where it gets dubious, you could say. Ukraine flatly denies this claim, and admittedly, Ukraine doesn't have the troops to deploy in large numbers to other borders. They have a little bit, one could say, of a invasion problem in the south and the east of their country, and are running very low on manpower there. So 120,000, Lukashenko might be stretching it a bit slash a lot. So what's really happening? Intelligence reports reveal Belarus isn't just moving regular troops, they're deploying special forces, tanks, artillery systems, multiple launch rocket systems, the things on the back of trucks that go. You're welcome. I know those animations are so terrible. Sorry. They're deploying all kinds, basically, and even former Wagner mercenaries are being deployed reportedly to the Gomel region. That's one of Belarus's 6 oblasts. Gomel is located on the Ukrainian border. All this under the guise of military exercises. Kind of reminds me personally of Russia's military exercises before it suddenly turned into a special operation. Anyway, Ukraine's response was swift and stern. Their foreign ministry issued a warning that would make any military planner at least pause for thought. Ukraine says if Belarus violates Ukraine's borders or joins Russia's invasion, all Belarusian military facilities and supply routes become legitimate targets for Ukrainian forces. Now, we have seen, it has to be said, Ukraine does have strike capability offensively. Even if they don't have the defensive capabilities needed to hold their entire sovereign territory, they have shown, for example, they can hit Moscow. They have shown they can hit oil refineries. They've shown they can hit military and civilian, if needed, energy, for example, infrastructure in Russia. So Belarus, no problem for the Ukrainian armed forces to hit Belarus if they so chose to. But there's a deeper game at play, ladies and gentlemen. Many analysts believe Russia is orchestrating this entire show from behind Belarus, hoping to force Ukraine to pull troops away from other parts of their country and be forced to defend their northern border. Spread thin, you say. Try this one on for size. Now you'll really know what it means to be spread too thin. We've been using butter on. Okay, I'll stop now. Sorry. In Eastern Europe, with Russia finding no figure in Ukraine's leadership that's willing to accept the reality on the ground on the Eastern Front and negotiate peace on Russian terms, because that's the reality. But Zelensky is not biting because Western Europe sits behind him and says, no, no, don't worry, we got you, we got you, you go, boy, you go, be heroic. So Putin has to resort to additional pressure if he wants the geopolitical reality on the ground to be reflected in the negotiations that he wants to have. Putin wants peace, but on Russian terms. That's what the Western news outlets won't tell you. See, they'll put the spin on it first. Putin's evil, right? He's using shovels, right? Anyway, it seems Russia may have indeed taken further steps to try and pressure Ukraine in order to threaten breakthrough across Ukraine by spreading them too thin, maybe even spreading their defensive troops across the north to stop a Belarusian invasion. Meanwhile, the West isn't standing idle. Ukraine's allies, if not in NATO, at least in symbolic and practical support, if not officially part of NATO, Western Europe still does have Ukraine's back. NATO in Western Europe is working hard to remilitarize themselves in a bid to be able to deter or maybe even fight Russia on whatever terms Western Europe wants. And they continue to support Ukraine with words and with arms, right? Now, especially America will continue to send Ukraine arms, but Europe is going to pay for it. You heard about the wall that Mexico is going to pay for? Tri-Patriot missiles that Europe's going to pay for, right? Recent news confirming there will even be a 10% premium added, value added tax type thing on American weapons sold to Ukraine. Because why? Like, so as in, like, if a Patriot missile system costs $100, which it doesn't, it costs a bit more. But if it costs $100, the US is saying we're going to sell it to Europe for 110, and then Europe is going to give it to Ukraine. Why is it costing $10 more? Shipping and handling? No, America is doing business though, and why not cut a juicier deal, right? Trump is transactional, if nothing else. Trump said it covers the cost of any potential American intervention militarily to support Ukraine. Lol, big L. Big L for the Western European powers. I'm going to tell you right now. America is getting you to fund the war now. It's stepping back and it's charging you more so that it can cover the costs of its own military intervention, which it would only intervene if it thought it was beneficial for America. Bruv, with allies like America, who needs enemies? United States of... Anyway, America's doing what's good for it, right? This is Realpolitik, gentlemen and ladies, I suppose. This is Realpolitik, realistic politics, right? Nations do what is good for them. This is the analysis that I want you guys to be using. The framing, the thinking, the mindset you want to be talking about. Don't talk about fair. Don't talk about just. Don't talk about international order. What order? Don't talk about international law. What international law? Imagine all the people who are studying international law and foreign relations at university. I'm not saying the degrees are completely useless, because in the apparatus that the world operates in, they'll still look for graduates of those things. But it doesn't actually mean anything, because look at all these lovely round tables and the picture of the world map and the globes. How did that help when, a variety of conflicts were triggered? Doesn't really help. Security Council, America can just veto whatever they want. Russia, China can veto whatever they want. Carries on how they want things to carry on. There is only really one way to ensure you get your way. Using the muscles. A terrible demonstration, because I've got very little. Anyway, back to Belarus. It's a state under Russia's sphere of influence that has not yet been activated, you could say, geostrategically speaking. It's not particularly lethal in capability or formidable in economic size, but if Putin's government in Moscow, the Russian Federation, wants to threaten further action against Ukraine and threaten breakthrough against Ukraine, Belarus becomes potentially a valuable knife that can be brought close to get Ukraine to have to commit at least something in that direction. If someone pulls a knife to your side and they're just standing there, you have to give them some attention, right? And every Ukrainian eye looking north to Belarus is an eye not looking east and not looking south, where Russia continues its advances. Slow, yes, but steady, and continue the advances do. And ladies and gentlemen, that is where we will end it today for the unbiased news and analysis without the Western spin. I'm Mahfouz. And I'll see you on the next one. Alhamdulillah, it's hot.